Welcome to another interesting episode of the Weekly Wowos. My name is Dennis Musali, your weekly host, and I'm privileged to have the editor of Kawowo Sports, Franklin Kawowo, and Edwin Kyle Kule with me. Edwin these days is football and basketball expert, and told us he says he's going to add table tennis. So He's becoming a jack of many trades but a master of none. Welcome, gents.
Of course.
Very quickly. Kyle, let me start with you. What's your starter this week?
Coming from the Valentine's week, I thought people would be happy. But when you see such blows, you understand who got a flower, who didn't get, who got a gift. And we can understand the economy is not so good. But my starter comes from football. And I will talk about a man known as Karim Watambala. When Alan Okello left Vipers for Young Africans, the question was who was going to take up the position, who was going to fill the big shoes. And for Karim Watambala, for an attacking player, you see that now he's been advanced to play just behind the striker. And this is a position that he has taken up with both hands, and the results are way clear. Currently, he stands at 8 goals, leveled with the top scorer, the other top scorer, Ambrose, who plays for UPPC. And you still think that with the 14 games to go, the tally can go higher because the coaches have trusted the boy. You remember the years that he came on to the scene, playing for Chitende, and I think his biggest game was 2018 or 2019 when they played Ginger SS for the finals, where Ginger took the lead early in front of the home crowd in Kakindu, but Chitende managed to come from behind and thump them 3. And for me, Watambala was the shining star. Though many were looking so much at Basango and Bobosi, I still think that was Watambala was the glue that kept this team clicking. So when you look at him years after, because there was even a time when many were saying that his time at Vipers is first spent, maybe he can move on. But now when you look at the boy, you feel that this is a season where he can hit the ceiling. Maybe you never know. That deal that was keeping him in close tabs with Azam can resurrect, and we see him going professional.
Yeah, and I'm also very impressed with. I think he's raised his game, and I don't know whether it has something to do with their agent as well. Him and Alan Okello, they've also been the faces of a couple of TV adverts here and there during the AFCON. But you also, I think last week I was seeing him training, doing some personal training. So there's sort of feels like they're trying to do things differently for them to be able to, to hit that ceiling that you're talking about. And Karim Watambala, even when he came into the team during Chan, he didn't start a couple of games, but when he got the opportunity, he's just sort of sealed his position in the team. And he's now going from someone we know for scoring blockbusters, but also chipping those. They are important goals, especially when they come from midfield.
And when you're playing big teams,
they don't need to be blockbusters only.
But for me, the personal training, it was a lot of. I don't know. For a footballer, that is not training that is going to scare someone. I think it's more about like. When there is PR or when there is that fire that is burning into someone, like they are doing good things, even when they start doing funny things, they sort of come off right. But I think for a player of his stature, I would be more interested.
Footballer?
No, but I've been close to a team and I've played football as well so far. But I can say, in his position, I'll be interested maybe to see him doing more personal drills of free kicks, taking shots, or maybe doing a bit of endurance. But for that video, you saw him jumping here, then doing this. Okay, it was fun to watch, but it was not very productive. But if we go back, if we go back to him as a player, For me, I think the turning point was that time when his contract got done and he chose to remain. I think that was a big step in the right direction, keeping into the same environment, but also taking a gamble to say, let me keep here and fight for my position. Because the easier choice would be, let me step away and look for other teams. And we've seen players who have chosen to do that. Somehow things have not gone right. You look at Lawrence Tezicha, who is currently, I think, in Police. You look at Zaga, who is now at Chitara. Sometimes you have to keep around and fight for your position, and somehow things start to click in. You look at the likes of Obenchan, the likes of talk about Tony Ankunda now, who has moved on to NEC. There are players who don't hit the road right away, but when they keep fighting, at some point things come to point. Look at the Hassan Mubirus now at AC Villa, Yiga Najib. They have chosen to keep in a certain environment, fight for their position, and now things are starting to go right for them.
All right, all the best for, I think, if Karim Watambala is in form, I think it's good for Vipers, but also good for the Uganda Cranes. And we hope that he can keep hitting those blockbuster goals. Maybe even a big money move, maybe somewhere around the corner. I'm sure his agent Sultan is working on something. Probably that comes through, there will be more money in the bank for Vipers as a club. Franklin, you started this week?
The young girls of Navisonsa. I've happened to watch quite many games this season, this short season of the National Basketball League, but I've not seen a team play a lot of fundamental basketball as the Navisonsa girls. Those school girls nearly hit 100 the other day.
By fundamental, what do you mean?
Fundamental, like playing basketball the right way. A pass, a move, a cut, relocate, those things. Of the girls teams that are playing, I think Navisonsa are playing quite good, fundamental, sound basketball. And for me, I think they are my stars and starters for this week. I mean, they nearly beat Miracle Eagles for 100. They are the highest scoring team in a single game, I think, this season. And so those school guys are really, really impressing me.
How will they measure up against the bigger teams, JKL, JT Jaguars, KCCA?
No. Of course, in experience, you can't buy experience. For players who have been there and done that, they're always going to get over you. After 2-3 quarters, you'll be out of legs and out of ideas and all that. So they don't really measure up against the top sides. But when they find their matches, they are quite good. They are quite impressive.
They put them in their place.
Yeah.
And then in terms of transitioning from the school team to the other clubs, is there an opportunity for them like that?
Yeah.
Maybe moving to UCU, Makerere Sparks or something?
Makerere
team. Yeah, but there's always that. Of course, they're either going to JKL, going to JT, or going to UCU. And that has always been the case from all the girls coming out of high school. I think there's always an opportunity for them to continue with their careers with the clubs here, unless Wakaba Gambia are in Serojiveko.
Okay, and that's a thing about players when you're coming from schools.
But Dennis,
schools
maybe
like that.
just to just throw in something that was not on our program, there's something that impressed me. There's a player, Mark Ngobi, I think that is the name, who plays for Victoria Crocs. Yep. This is a young player who has taken up badges for being a coach, and he's part of the coaching team of She Crocs. I think he's the head coach, and he has gotten some results as a coach, and this is something that maybe we can request players, that if you think you're going to have a career, maybe as a player, it's important to take your badges early. Currently, we are seeing Tony Drileba as well as Ben Komakech coaching KCC, and Ben is still the assistant at City Oil. I just wonder how this boy's career as a coach is going to look like if he has hit the road this early. I think for me, apart from Watambala, mukulu ng'obyo oli wakabi man.
Interesting one. We'll come back to the basketball conversation a bit later. My starter this week is from cricket. Everyone has picked their favorite. Cricket Uganda hosting the Division 2 Under 19 Women's World Cup Qualifiers early next month. Where Uganda had not been given an opportunity to host any ICC event this year, but somehow were able to sneak into the events calendar because the tournament was moved to Kenya and then brought to Uganda. So I think it will be very, very exciting to see some of I think it will be an opportunity for Uganda to look at the teams. Two of the teams from the 5 nations that are going to be here will go to the main Division 1 where Uganda will be waiting. So Uganda has an opportunity of looking at who will be their opponents come August later in the year. So I think a very, very good opportunity for Uganda just before the season starts for us to host an international event. That will also help us, try and keep raising the profile of the game in the country. Unfortunately, it's in Entebbe, which sometimes can be a bit of a problem. But for everyone that has an opportunity, I think there will be some international cricket in Uganda happening starting early next month. And that story, with all the details available on Kawowo Sports. So it should be interesting. People are wondering, but Uganda is not playing in it. Who are we hosting?
Born ready.
Exactly. Exactly. So Uganda has that opportunity and it should be very, very exciting for them. Now let's switch it back and start with the basketball conversation. Big statement made here by Franklin Kawowo just before we got on air. Kyle and I were wondering over Wali Day because the man was even shouting. If only Fred could get it, but Franklin said the dictator is back.
Back with a bang.
Back with a bang.
Man has some poetry.
3 wins on the bounce for City Oilers.
No.
And that statement coming from me should mean so much because it clearly means that City Oilers they have the mark on them and everyone is just going to be chasing them this season.
Look, in the off-season, one of the words that Edwin used to say a lot is that Omugaga yagambye kijja si muntu after that defeat last season. But for me, one of the things that I think I've stood out this season so far is that the reorganization that Oilers did in the off-season, I think they got the right pieces to try and reclaim their spot at the top. And the first 3 games of the season have showed that that is actually what they are looking at. 1, in terms of how they play, and then 2, in terms of not taking any team lightly. You see the wins against UPDF and Kampala Rockets on Sunday. This is a team that is not kind of taking any game lightly, that even what you would call fringe players don't get as much opportunity against teams like Kampala Rockets that are a bit lightweight, if I may put it that way. They still maintain their core of guys. Bagalokulaga Elian, beat you into a dimension. And when I say the dictator is back, like that is what I mean, that they are not taking anything lightly anymore. Right from the go, they are putting their best foot forward, and when that is the approach, right from the start of the season, it's going to be really serious.
Yeah, and I think they're just trying to make sure that they beat everyone so that we shall be forced to give them the respect they deserve.
No, but even the way they are doing it is like the way they are doing it makes someone love what they are doing. Most times we ask ourselves who could be our ambassadors in the different games that we cover, because you want to bring a new fan and you take them for a game that they are going to watch and enjoy. For the other side, for football, they had a double header on Valentine's and 2 games, no goal. Now you wonder if you've decided to tell someone that instead of going for band or what for Valentine's, let's choose sport as a date, and you're going to watch such crap. It does not come off nice. So when you look at how City Oil are doing whatever they are doing, it comes off nice. I recommend our viewers to go and watch that episode done by the man himself, Frank, where he was trying to explain how Fayed Bale is going to be quite a problem this season. But it's clear that there are going to be very many other players that are going to be a problem. We saw Kaira in UCU being that fighter, a person who was being very aggressive, using a lot of energy and all that. Yes, he could be doing the same at this side, but you feel now he has been given more freedom to try out a few things, and I think it's going to make him a better player. It's very rare to see Kaida dribble that ball past one or two players, but now you see that he has even gotten better in terms of positioning himself. You saw in the episode that Frank was trying to break down that as a team, every movement helps another player get into a better movement. Position. Now, if we have these things done by our local players and in a great unit, it makes even our team better with time, because nearly the starting five of City Oilers, you will find that 3 or 4 of them are on the national team, because you have Bale, you have Titus, you have Kaira, so you already know that you have a starting block. When you're going to make your team better, you already have players back at home that are doing things. So for City Oil, surely I recommend everyone to go and have a game that you watch. Kubanga Sajaba Kuba.
And we're going to talk about the likes of Bala and Kaira when we speak about the Silverbacks team that was named recently. But Kyle, very quickly before we move on, JKL still have something in them, because they were able to get one over the JT Jaguars. When everyone thought that after losing some of their key players, maybe this could be a tough season for them, and JT will be sort of the champions in waiting, but they never had everything their way.
Yeah, our boss here, Joseph, normally says something that you cannot go ahead of yourself. Like there are some things that come with time, and for just to be straight with that, experience, that is not something you just go and pick from a shop and you have it on your back. When you look at that game, for me, I still think that JKL were in a better place because of experience. They knew what to do during what time. The way they were handling the ball, the way they had phases into the game, but also they were calm. You felt like JT had something to prove, and they had a lot of pressure on themselves. That led them not to have clear plays run, but also each time the ball was not falling, you could see that they are trying to do other things. In that game, Nalongo was more like the difference. Each time, Iman. Each time Jetty would come. Each time Jetty would come close, a hot 3 would come, and so you would be like you're getting closer to the prize, and then in minutes you're very far away. So those are things that come with experience, that you know what to do when. And JKL players looked very calm. They looked like they know what they're doing, and so things were flowing in. But also, I'm a bit disappointed with one of the people that I follow closely at JT. Sometimes you don't know what is happening. Shakira Navubia, to mention the player. I don't know. Throughout, I think now it's 3 games, but there is no game that you think she has given us even half of what she can do. Whenever you look at her, she looks as though there is something. I don't know if she's stressed. I don't know if there is something wrong, but she's so far away from the game. And being a senior player in that team, these are games where you have to turn up. These are games where you have to bring your leadership on the floor and help others to become better. Yeah. And I think she should feel a bit sorry, or even have an apology to the teammates, because she has not served the team even half of what she has to do. For a player that is on the national team, and for a player that has been at UCU, you have to do better, surely. So I think so I think surely if you say it, I cannot go against you, because she has not looked good.
All right. Then one of the things that I think went terribly wrong for JT Jaguars in that game is that I think they were not prepared for one of the rising stars in our league, who is Melissa Taliba. One of the players, the standout players, who is going to be, I think, a breakout this season is Taliba. And look, from the under 18, of course, you would see potential in her, but okay, let me just put this out there. I'm working on another episode that is basically covering what Melissa Taliba was doing in that game. Of course, Edwin talks about Iman Shimwe and somehow her 3-point shots falling. Some wild ones, by the way. Of course, that comes to your point of better be lucky than
Exactly.
but again, but one of the things that caught JT by surprise was how Melissa and even Nachinju were running the pick and roll to get easy buckets at the rim. And when you have a team like that coming to a game not ready, not with a scouting report for a certain player, you're going to get very, very surprised. Of course, you cannot come into a game preparing for an under 18 kid that she's going to break out, or you're going to expect an actually kind of game from her, but then she ends up with what, 14 points. That is a lot for a young player who's regardless of the talent and all that, especially in a big game. You know, you come prepared for knowing that, okay, Mima is the mid-range shooter of the big players, and then of course, you know, Iman is going to shoot the 3-pointers. You know, Brent Ekon is going to run the fast breaks and all that. You come with all that set, and you want to believe that in as far as that is concerned, they kind of did an okay job with trying to limit fast breaks for Ekon. And of course, when Nalongo was shooting, of course, some were always going to go in, but I think they were not prepared for Melissa Taliba and what she did, and that caught them off guard. Of course, you can talk about Shakira Navia not really showing out yet at this point, but also the 3-point shot for JT Jaguars was not falling at all. I think they shot the ball very poorly. Of course, you combine that with some sort of poor defending that they had throughout in phases of the game. It was always going to be difficult for them to win a game like that with very many things falling apart for them.
Yeah, I think there's still so much work to do for the JT Jaguars if they are going to be able to dethrone
but also as
JKL.
As a league, the teams look so poor on the line. I don't know if we should ask coaches to have very special moments to improve that, but all our teams look so poor. You wonder if there is a player against South Sudan.
Yes. We failed to
but
convert those.
I'm telling you, as a country, as a league,
I think
we look so poor on the line.
I think free throw shooting is a player issue, not really a coaching problem.
It's a coaching problem.
It's purely a player issue. There's no way, as a player who knows that at any one point you're going to attack the basket and you're going to be fouled and you go to the line. I think practicing free throws should be part of. It's personal.
Why I'm
but
saying?
I understand even
saying that the coaches.
LeBron is not good at the free throw line.
No, why I'm saying that the
it's
coaches.
Only KD you can trust on that line.
But by saying not good, LeBron shoots 70%. Mm-hmm. Okay, just that the others shoot 80+%. But if you shoot 70%. I mean, by our standards, I think that would be okay.
Okay, let's say in the Ugandan League, which player can you trust to sink two under pressure?
I have quite names I can throw in. I have for one I would first go with Bali, and then there is a name that is running off my head. A player who was in Blazers and now playing for Summit.
Chuma?
I think the guy who dances off his shoulder and then takes a shot.
Peter Cheng?
Yeah, Peter Cheng. Peter Cheng is the name. Those could be my picks. But I was saying, why was I bringing in the coaches? That there are routines I've seen at UCU happen that the coach is he will not come and say you do this and this and this, but there is time given for that practice. And so players maybe create more time on a personal level, but at least there is time to do some things, because sometimes our players are so comfortable. But also knowing that we are in a league where players come from work to play, come from work to train, there are some things that they will not mind.
I would like to think that the line shooting is like likening it to hitting sixes in cricket. And cricket is sort of a muscle memory sport. If I can drop 1,000 every day, I'll be sure that I can be able to drop one in a game, or 2 out of 1. I mean, 1 out of 2. So it's sort of and those things, six hitting is not it's not taught by the coach.
Yeah. No,
it's a skill that you do on your own. That the more I hit, the luckier I will become. It's
Frank and Dennis, you might not have gotten my point. I'm not saying that I'm going to have Coach Nick telling a player that if you're going to take a ball, do this, do this, do this. But maybe to create that time. The challenge is this. We are, I don't know if I should even call it semi-professional, but we are in a league where players don't have that much time to be on the ball and to be on the court. There are even some players who come to the game when they didn't train, or they had just one training. So that's how we are poor in terms of preparing. So
still amateur.
So we should take it upon ourselves to know that there is a problem that needs a solution. Because there are games that you go to and a player has missed all the shots that he has been on the line. And that does not look good. If at all we have a league that we even put on Kawowo YouTube.
And it is not a coaching problem. Again, I mean, I for one, I'm a better free throw shooter than most of our players, but that is because I practice a lot of shooting. I've happened to be at very many training sessions of teams and all that.
Next time, I'm going to ask Fred, next time you guys go to shoot the National Basketball League, please show us what Kawowo is saying, that he's very good at, he's very good on the line. 5 shots, if he makes 5.
I will make 4 of those. At least.
Challenge
accepted. The challenge is that he's the boss, so we cannot go hard on him.
As the bare minimum, 3.
We don't want 10 takes. 4,
no,
5, and that's it.
Minimum makes 3.
On the next show, we shall be able to show you the throws from Franklin.
I've happened to be at very many training sessions of these teams. At the end of every training session, the last part of the session is free throw shooting. At least for the teams I've covered. The very, very, very last part of the session is free throw shooting. And if players can, and by the way, you forget, the reason why the last, again, this is from a little bit of experience. The reason why coaches choose to put free throw shooting as the last part of the session is because they want these players to be able to shoot when they are tired. Because that is kind of what the game calls for. Like by the time you go to the free throw line, there has been some work that has been done. So your hand has to be at a certain level of, I think, pressure to be able to shoot. And when that happens and players don't take it as serious as it should, I don't think that should be a coaching issue. Players just need to get serious and I mean, put in the work.
Yeah, I think Kyle's point is that it can make a difference for you in a game. So the team that will take it serious could, earn an extra 20, 15 points because their shooting is better. But some work to do there for the JT Jaguars. And like Carl has mentioned, don't forget to subscribe to the Kawowo YouTube channel for you to be able to watch the National Basketball League every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the production team is always very busy over the weekend. I think when I was thinking about on Saturday was Valentine's Day, I'm thinking about it, and I saw a notification from Kawowo, hey, we are live. There was a game happening. In my head, I'm like, oh, the production guys, instead of going for Valentine's, they've decided to to give us some basketball. So I'll blame the production guys for making me stay at home and watch basketball instead of going away.
We saved you some money. Be happy.
Yeah,
Be
but
an
the
escape
league, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for you not to miss the National Basketball League. But still staying with the basketball, Franklin, the first episode we made this year, he was talking about how the Silverbacks have been ignored. And today he has ensured that I don't know.
Be a little bit patriotic.
I don't know if they gave him a bribe or something, but he made sure he also
A
changes
little bit patriotic. Yeah.
into the jersey for the Silverbacks. The Silverbacks team named yesterday actually on a public holiday, but the 12-man team named for the World Cup qualifiers. I think they are going for a 2-week camp in Egypt. I don't know, Cairo has sort of become their second home before they go for the qualifiers. Franklin, first give us the details on that team and where they will be competing. The World Cup qualifiers, where?
The team, quite a new look, especially some new guys in there as well. You will have it on the screen. One of the new guys there is Sibande, who is coming for the team into the team for the first time. The rest of the guys there.
But the name looks closer to Uganda. So it's
Sibande,
not very far than some of the names that have been coming in.
What names are you talking about?
Some names.
So anyway, the newest name on that team is just Sibande. The rest of the guys have been on the national team here and there, of course. Peter Blaine has been with the team. Luo Anasif was at the Afrobasket. Edgar Mnava has had the run with the team. I think most of the guys there, of course, Dior Kaida was in the Afrobasket as well. Fayed Bale, common name. The only new name on the team which is missing on that list that you have on the screen is your friend
Ian Duncan
Luama.
Yes.
A point guard at JT Jaguars. To make the 12th player on that roster. Of course, personally, I think I'm happy with.
What about Lakers boy and his brother?
They are busy. They can't release players right now. He's at South Bay Lakers. They can't release the players right now. I think they are mid-season. I mean, even the college kids can't come because it's about time for March Madness. So you can't have most of. And you know the American staff doesn't mind about this FIBA thing. Like we also have our kind of stuff here. So the American system doesn't kind of give a shit about FIBA tournaments. So
is it the same fate with the usual suspect? The name has just run out of my head. Guy who played for the Phoenix Suns.
Ishmael.
Yeah, Wayne Ishmael.
Ishmael
won, right?
You get the Simanje Agadja.
Atwa Mugoba. He misbehaved. He disappointed us.
Misbehaved
And
how?
No, the last call that he had to join the team.
For the Afrobasket.
Yeah, but he switched off his phones. He cut off communication, and as a country, we moved on.
From what I've been told is that I think that was resolved, and he had made himself available to be selected for this competition. But I'm really not sure whether the coach liked what he saw of him and something like that. So I think he will be available maybe in the coming whatever window in July. But for this particular one, of course, it's going to be in Alexandria in Egypt. We're going to play Egypt. We're going to play Mali and Angola. The good news is that Uganda will be there. The bad news is that don't expect a win for Uganda. As you could look at that team, I think it's a team that is just coming together in terms of being ready for that competition. I don't think it is anywhere close to being ready. The competition starts next week, next Thursday. And so between now and next week, when the team has to start competing to play those 3 games, I don't think it's enough time to prepare a team to compete against, for example, Egypt, whose players are all home-based. Okay, compete against Angola, the AfroBasket champions, or to compete against Mali, who have been playing at the high level for a very long time. Actually, I think the win that I remember against Mali was a walkover in the previous World Cup qualifiers, I think in Kigali, when players were on strike, the Mali players were on strike and didn't play that game. Obviously, if we're looking at the team that we could probably kind of play close, should be Mali, but I don't think we stand a chance against Egypt or Angola in that window.
No, but the good news is the time that we have to prepare. We've seen our team travel even when they are going to play tomorrow. But now that at least we have a week, because the team is traveling on Thursday, that means they will have a week to... You can have 6 sessions in there.
But I think that's a point for Franklin, that and that is something also realized in cricket, that for us to go to the next level, we're never going to compete like that. You know, in the past it used to be, hey, there's a tournament, hey, come around, then we start training maybe 2 months of the tournament. After the tournament, bye, mwedava, see you next time.
Exactly.
Then we come together again to maybe a month, and then we go and compete. We realized that was never going to take us to the next level. Next level competition needed us to give more time, more time to work on our skills and improve. And over time, that's how the team actually went to the World Cup. But that was work of over 3 years, and consistently guys showing up, going to Gogo every day, training, whether it is raining or not. You know, that mindset, total shift in mindset, is what got them to the next level. So I think what Franklin is trying to say, that if you're going to get together for a 2-week camp, you can only do so much against a team that has been together for the last 6 months.
No, the challenge I see with this team is that even the players themselves, they keep coming in and out of the team. You're talking about Ian Luwama, a player that I'm happy for, knowing that he's going to be the 12th player. But I don't think it was the plan, like from start, that this was the name that we are going to pick. It could be more like a fill-in because a certain player didn't turn up, or the documents failed. So let's go for the easiest pick. It takes us back to what you guys are saying, but also there is a challenge that these players keep coming in and out of the team. There are names that we saw in AfroBasket that we are not seeing here. There are names that we are seeing here that we shall not see in the next window. And so that keeps going on and on. But for me, what I'm saying is that at least the coach will have at least a few days to work with this team. What I'm looking at more could be that it helps the coach to know better some players, because he's going to have some time with them. And so it gives us maybe a few steps going forward in the coming window, that it's now a bit easy. That's why I appreciate that they didn't call Ian Wainwright, because for me, for a player disappointing us that much, for me, I'm up to now. It is not well with me because
forgive and forget.
No, you see, we can talk about Wainwright in a way that he made us look better as a team and all that, but he also gave that guy big exposure, like, because each time you would talk about Silverbacks, this is the name we are fronting. Because at a time we even forgot our own, and we jumped onto a new lad on a team. So it does not look good. It is better you work with players who are interested, who really want to kuiwa mubidi, and then later on as a team maybe we can have a better unit.
Yeah, guys want more about it. Franklin added us. Have they moved on from guys like James Okello?
Yes. When you look at that team, of course, when it has Kaira, it has Titus, Rual. You think these are the big men, the power forwards that they are looking at. And then when you have Yandak and Wama, you have Luana Sif there, you have Tejan Rugete. Those are the guards that they are looking at. Of course, Fayed Bal as well. Those are 4 guards. And that is thinking of, you know what, we moved on from the Jimmies. I'm probably Tony Reba, who is a little bit injury prone, if I may say, as well as Ivan Muhwezi, who has not been in fine form, of course, since the AfroBasket that was part of last year. So I think in a way it is some sort of moving on or rebuild that they are trying to do by getting in new players to kind of replace this. Of course, they know for sure this is not a campaign that is going to end in some sort of success, but it should be a good starting point when you're looking at the Afrobasket in 2 years.
Yeah, Franklin has a way around results and knowing what will happen. So he's made sure that this is not a campaign that is going to end in success. His words, not mine. So do not expect so much from the Silverbacks. But the Silverbacks team for the World Cup qualifiers that will be happening in Cairo, Egypt.
No, in Alexandria.
In Alexandria, not Cairo. The team will camp in Cairo and then move to Alexandria, right? Make sure you keep reading Kawowo Sports for you to get all those details about
if we
how
make it to the World Cup,
the Silverbacks.
it's a bit closer this time.
It is not going to happen.
Because, man, Qatar, you can throw yourself there, but...
For sure, we'll be at the World Cup. I mean, the fans, that's fans. As a country, please. Don't try to
if we don't, if there's no success in Alexandria, does that mean that's the end for us?
That means you have to win all 3 games in the second window to have a chance of playing in the last or the final qualifying phase. So the second window is in July. The second window, which is like the return leg, we are going to play the first leg, okay, and then the return leg is in July. Which, from what I'm hearing, that we are bidding to host at Hoima.
Okay.
So if good things happen in Alexandria and say we sneak in a win, then the bid host that group game, that group return leg in Hoima is going to be in Ahia.
Yeah, I hope we can get that opportunity and host the basketball. Big things are going to happen at. I'm giving you inside information. We had a conversation in another place, in another capacity that I have, where even table tennis is bidding to host a big tournament at the Hoima Stadium. So a lot of good things are coming to Hoima. But that has been our conversation around basketball, Silverbacks, and how the teams are faring in the National Basketball League. Like I've said, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for you not to miss the action every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday from all over Kampala. For the National Basketball League. We'll now switch up the conversation and talk about some decisions that were made by the FUFA Legal Committee. The decisions have been pending, but eventually they came out and a certain team benefited and another wasn't very happy with the decisions. But it is what it is. It's a boardroom decision, sometimes not very good, but I think they needed to be made before the season goes deep. So that you understand your fate at least before you get to the back end of the season. Kyle, I'm going to bring you in here. Explain to us what exactly happened to that Kitara-Vipers game. I think we'll start with the one where Kitara came out of the tunnel. They lined up. The other team wasn't there. They even kicked the ball around a bit. And then that was it.
The decisions were 2. I thought you were going to start with the one that
the other one for
team.
KCC, I think, was a bit.
Don't mind KCC.
The KCC one, in my opinion, wasn't a big deal.
I still think the one for KCC was more clear than the one of Vipers.
Really, it was a bigger deal.
Yes.
We're talking about something.
Okay, let's start with that KCC decision.
The challenge is this one was known by many, so it was followed by many.
Okay.
But the one for KCC, that was the opening game of the season.
Yeah.
And Patrick Kadu was not on the match sheet, but he happened to be playing, or he happened to be part of the players. So KCC says that they used a player that was not on the match sheet, and the game ended draw. So KCC wanted 2 points and maybe deductions of punishments and all that. But FUFA came out to say that it was a technical error that was beyond their reach. Okay. Now, this takes us back to what happened between KCC and Mbarara, the issue of the yellow cards. It was still a technical error. But now this time around, the technical error is beyond their reach. And the other time, it was not beyond their reach. And these are the double standards that we keep talking about. That if you agree that you managed to punish KCC because of
but in the Mbarara decision, they wanted... Okay. Did we win that game or we lost the game? I remember it was a 2-1 result.
No, for this one, it is KCC that had won.
Yes.
And so Mbarara reports KCC
Oh, yes, Mbarara
that they
reported.
used a player
Aye.
of accumulated cards.
Eh,
And KCC,
Gavin Chizeto.
yes, and KCC are clear to say, or are quick to say, that we inquired and this is what we got. At the end of the day, it
Our
was an
points were taken
error
away.
by a referee.
Yeah.
Federation.
So that is an error that is beyond KCC's reach because they've done all that it takes.
Yeah.
So they are left with no no option, and they use the player.
But I wonder how a player who's not on the match list takes the field even. Strange.
No, but at the end of the day, Kitara had to lose points because they used the player that,
Yeah, that would
was
be
not
illegal. Even
on
in
the
cricket,
sheets.
we would lose points.
Okay,
If you take the field and you're not on the
but
match sheet.
the double standards that we talk about came into play. Now let's go to the case that most people had interest in, the case between Kitara and Vipers. One, Vipers wrote to UPL and FUFA and the bodies that were included, or the parties that were included in the game.
Right.
And yes, and they notified that they are not going to show up because they were not believing in the league that was being played by
Yeah.
then. Later on, after a number of games, the FUFA president, Honorable Engineer Moses Magogo, comes on TV. It was a Saturday. I was in church, so I watched the video later on in the evening, where he clearly said that we want to go in the same direction with all the teams. So we shall put aside this league and then get
afresh.
back to the old. But he requested that since these teams had spent money and all that, they will just go on with those games. But at the back of our minds, we have to take the common sense that says we have to go in the same direction. That says that tulina okubireka tugende n'ekintu ekimu as a team, as a whole, as UPL. So I expected that now things of paying back or saying that no, since you slapped me, I have to slap you again, are things that we are going to put aside. But with all the decisions that happened, you feel that there is a targeted party. There's a party that they have to show that you have a level and there are levels to these things. And so Vipers is being the party that is being given level.
I feel that's a narrative from
And
you,
so,
from
no, I'm saying from my own understanding. And that's why even Vipers, they are not saying that, buno bonero tubwagala nnyo. They are saying, no, we have to put a statement. And so we are going to follow up with the case. Because we believe we had no problem, or we
but
didn't do...
all the games that were played in the sort of new format, I think the results stood.
Yes.
So I don't see a case for Vipers. If you chose to stay away, that was on you. They were lucky that they didn't have other games because of the CAF federations, blah blah, whatever competitions. But then even all the teams that the teams that didn't get results in that sort of new entity made petition, and they're like,
No, you see,
we're not even serious.
No, you see, we are setting very wrong precedents as UPL, and I'm talking that as someone interested in the game. That now, this is more like the fourth or fifth case. We shall go back a bit. You remember the game between AC Villa and KCC, the game that was involved of Done as the referee. Ompira waguyiwa. I was about to say the game was powered. Ompira waguyiwa. Oh, the game was
The cup final.
yeah. So while KCC players were crying and weeping and all that, they take journalists and watch to a certain place where they tell them the game is going to be played. And so these teams are prepared and all that. But there are players that were punished. The referee, who I think put the game in total disrepute, again was allowed to say that this and this and this are player are not going to play because they did this and this. At the end of the day, the game was replayed. We shall go back to the incident of Proline and AC Villa. Mujuzi and Brighton Ukani were part of the national team. And so Proline says, because our players are part of the national team, we are not going to play this game. They were still punished. And for the 6 points that were deducted, that's why even they ended up being relegated. Look at the incident of Ondu Paraka and KCC. They give KCC a penalty hooligans enter a pitch, and later on FUFA backs hooligans that we are going to repeat this game. And they even go ahead to fund hooligans. And they say, no, you entered the pitch, we are going to repeat, and we are the ones who are going to face all the payments and all that. So this time around, Vipers says no. We are not going to be hooligans to say this and that. We are not going to do this and this. But we are writing in a formal way. And we are saying we don't believe in what you're doing. And at the end of the day, what Vipers were not believing in came to play. Yeah. That the league that they were fighting against was put aside. But the
games that were played in the new format stood as results.
No, but this game was not played.
Yeah, because you never showed up.
No, it had no result. You see, you see, Dennis, if that game was played, then it would be reflecting on the table.
You see, you can play in protest, but if you don't show up,
then the forfeiture should have been shown back.
If that was the case,
so that was
then the game.
So what Franklin is saying is the only problem with that situation. That the moment that Vipers never showed up and they went through all those pre-match routines, the game should have been awarded to Kitara immediately.
Yes. And
so not still, awarding it never necessitated to mean that there is a window of opportunity for Vipers to get a replay.
Actually, it did.
No. Because it was not put on the table, it shows that it can be replayed. And at least Elvis clearly states it, that he talked to the Kitara president, who were ready to replay the game. For them as a team, they were interested in saying, no, this is a big game that can even get us funds into the stadium, and we can grab some money from it. So for us, we are ready, if at all it comes that way. Now, why?
Because that was a double-header day. I think the other game was KCC and someone.
Why this whole thing looks funny is that if that game was played, somehow, somewhere, we could have still been in the new league format. Because it was after that big fight and funds not coming up that later on brought everyone to get interested in what's going on, and then the league format was put aside. But also, FUFA, if you have the balls and you think you can make big decisions, why not deduct the points as the rule goes? Because the rule says you lose the game, so you lose the 3 points, and the other team is awarded 3 goals, and then you deducted 3 points from those that you've accumulated. Now, if FUFA, you think you have big balls, you deduct even the 3, so that we know that you've gone by the rule book and you're taking a decision.
So what was the decision? Was the decision just to not have the game replayed and 3 points awarded to Kitara?
No, the decision means that FUFA has made a new rule, because they gave Kitara 3 points and 3 goals, but from the points that have been accumulated earlier, they didn't take
Vipers. None were taken.
Yes.
So that means
what
no. What that means is that the match was not lost by forfeiture technically, because if you lose a match by forfeiture, it means you also lose in the reverse fixture technically. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means FUFA trying to keep themselves on a border. Tulibabi, nete tulibabi nyo.
Who is the head of who is part of that FUFA judicial committee?
The president of Kitara is the vice president, but also within the members there is another Kitara. No, Kitara has 2 members
on the legal committee.
Yes, on that body.
What for me, I never, maybe I'm an administrator, so I may be biased, but I am not a.
Of course, I don't you've always been.
I don't believe in conspiracy theory. Things will grab you the way they're supposed to grab you, whether you this or that, irrespective of whether it was Vipers or Kitara or KCC or whatever.
If the ruling favors, the KCC versus Kitara favors Kitara. And then because there is a vocal guy this side who you don't want to get into a fight with again, what do? I think that kind of speaks some sort of.
I think
no, but also Dennis, let me bring you to some point.
I've sort of been a devil's advocate.
No, let me bring you to some point. Just imagine of a point when Kyle is somewhere and so they are bidding, and so they are saying Kawowo and some other entity have a chance to take this, and I'm among the members that are making a decision.
That means you'll be conflicted.
Does it mean that by any point I'm going to choose the other side?
Yeah, could be.
I cannot.
Because you're a professional.
I cannot. even my understanding and common sense will tell me.
You see, then it works in such a way that, and I've sat on games committees before, when there was a decision to make about my team, you excuse yourself from that decision making process because you're already conflicted. That is the right way of doing things. So we do not know whether the Chitara president sat in the committee when they were making that decision. I don't know if you guys have that information.
No, Dennis. For me,
influence can't go away.
For me, for starters, it already looks ugly for one team to have two members on that committee. When we have more than how many teams are in the country, for one team to have two, it already looks ugly. But also, what looks funny as well is that when this case is tabled, these parties are not given a chance to come and explain. And that's what I think Council Uganda has been saying, that as lawyers of clubs, give us a chance to come and explain and tell you this happened because of this. But you put out a document.
I don't like lawyers in these sports things. They always bring too much lawyering.
No, but
trying
because
to argue cases.
no, because you're using lawyers the other side, then give them a chance to explain themselves. Because cases of
lawyering.
football,
That's why I think even the new sports law doesn't allow too much lawyering in sports.
No, but you see,
sports should be run by most times common sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, but then do you see common sense in this case? But anyway, just allow me bring my point home. This document was not signed by anyone. It is just something of graphics.
So should we expect another decision?
No, I'm just telling you why I think this thing looks ugly. This information was not signed by anyone. So we don't quote anyone. We don't know who made the ruling. We don't know who said the final word. Like, it is not signed. Then, below it, they say it is the final ruling. Now, you're saying it is the final ruling as who? As who? Because there are parties included. So, because you've made a ruling, another party has to come and go against the ruling or even praise it. Because this is football. Even me as a fan, I can say I'm a Vipers fan and I have questions to ask. They have never released the final ruling for the public to see. Because the final ruling will explain. But they got a graphics guy. They told the guy, Gwerinda, when we are about to go into the game, release. Because they know the thing is going to disorganize. Because FUFA are so interested in chaotic things. For them, they thrive where there is chaos. So they wait for when we have games. Because, they had a long window to make a decision. But they were very silent. In fact, even the FUFA president himself was in the same place like me. He was interested to know what's going on. And the man was being delayed. And then a certain guy was told, no, 10 minutes to kick off. Release the artwork. Now, you're disorganizing the team that is going to play because you're giving them news that is going to excite them. So they can easily take that game for granted and lose it. You're disorganizing another Vipers that is preparing for a big game the following day. That is against Bull. So we operate in a very disorganized society. But this is a game that we call the only league that matters. But when you look at the things that are going on, does anything look like it matters?
Very, very passionate there from Kyle in the judgment, the decision there to award 3 points to Chitara. But they didn't take away any 3 points from Vipers from the points that they had accumulated. But we'll wait and see if there's another decision to make on that result. But Vipers still top of the table anyway, and it seem like the only team that are interested because they look like the only team that are interested because the chasing pack, especially KCC, has failed to keep up with them. But a big shout out to the under 20 girls who were able to get another win in Zambia, and that win helps them move on to the next round of the qualifiers.
The final qualifying round.
The final qualifying round.
That's how you're not doing
against Ghana.
Yeah. Kyle, can you be happy about that?
Yeah, of course. That win, I think the happiest person was the coach. She was more happy than Ugandans because that win is more like the win that gave him more days as our coach, because everyone associated to women's football
Was her head on the chopping block?
so much, because teams were having very, very weird performances. But also the other challenge is that the team has been tinkered so much. Players are playing out of position, and this is all because of the coach. When you look at players that we know for being attackers, you find them being played as defensive midfielders. You find players that are defenders being played as wingers. So the team has been the different teams, right from the senior team to the under teams, the teams have not looked so much natural as we know them for. But you will thank the girls and the coach as well for going and picking a win against Zambia, because that is the first loss that the Zambian women side has got at home. That they have always been losing away from home, but they had never lost at home. So that is quite a big statement. And knowing that we are going to play against Ghana, for me, this is more exposure, because Ghana is one of the sides that looks very decent in women's football. Knowing that we are left with only 2 hurdles to go into Poland, I think the girls should be motivated better, because these girls have not been getting their money as it has to keep coming. And I think at such a point, I think they have all reasons to be given enough or even be given more. Because knowing that you're left with 1 hurdle, you don't want to leave any room for error or camp getting challenges or having players come into games when they are not mentally prepared. I think we have a chance, because if we manage to go against a hard side such as Zambia, I still think that they should do everything that it takes to see that they prepare the girls against Ghana.
Yeah. What do you think our chances are against Ghana?
Very, 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 very minimal. Very minimal. I cannot say, if you're going to say out of 10, I think it is 5 out of 10, because
It's 50% chance.
yeah, it's 50% chance, because in underage games, sometimes there are few things that differentiate the two sides, because all of you have less experience. These are games that normally don't have fans, so you're not going to be on the backing of fans, because you see they played under nearly an empty Kadiba, and they played nearly in front of an empty stadium the other side. So some things don't come into play. So it goes back to how you've prepared. This comes back to fitness, things like knowing which game plan. How do we operate away from home, and how do we operate while at home? This time around, we were lucky that even when we went away from home, with the other side being in the front seat, we got a very early goal. I think we got our goal in the 7th minute, which put us in the driving seat way early. So it gives a bit of confidence, but also calmness with the girls, knowing that they have a goal, and so they can maybe play a low block, maybe they can contain the game and see how it goes. So with Ghana, you know that they're not so good to say that they are the Nigerias of this world. So you can go against them, but again, you don't go with the comfort that because we won against Zambia, Erika with them. Because we've seen how we've lost against the likes of Ethiopia on final days where we've looked way better than them. But because of 1 or 2 mistakes that we do, we find ourselves on the other side.
All right, we go with faith. Like Carl says, we shall go with faith in that final round of the qualifiers for the under-20 women. They have an opportunity to go to Poland in the World Cup. Hopefully, they can have a good final leg for them to qualify for the World Cup. We have seen the under-17 boys at the World Cup, so opportunities for the younger teams to be able to hit that mark and get into the global stage. That has been. We started with basketball, running down through the Silverbacks team and what is happening in National Basketball League. Spoke about a bit of the football. KCC is still in trouble, but most importantly, focusing on those decisions that were made by FUFA that affected Vipers, but they haven't shaken them in any bit because they are still top of the table. But we wait to find out if there will be any going back on those decisions, especially the one where points were taken off them because they were no show in the game against Chitara on in the new format.
Opening door of the new format.
Opening door of the new format before we switched back to the old format that we're in right now. Now we'll finish our conversation today by speaking about rugby and a very, very big result in the National Rugby League. Franklin, I will task you with to hold Joseph Manmuhumuza. Hold him, please, because right now they created a meme that has been trending the whole weekend. I don't know who the two players were, but I've seen them reaching the moon. I don't know, very many places of the world in a race. But the mighty Impis of Makerere, I'm an alumni of Makerere, so I'm also proudly associated. But the mighty Impis of Makerere, they even saw one where elephant is on top of This is why we need Impis in the league, because there's a vibe they bring to the league. They may not win the championship, but there's something they bring to the league that.
But if the championship ended today,
but it won't, unfortunately.
There's something they bring to the league. It is intangible, but it is there. Impis, the mighty Impis, a big result for them this last weekend, defeating Heathens 16-10 at the graveyard. They said that they were properly buried at the graveyard, the Heathens. I think that's the only result from that weekend. There were others, of course. I think Cobb's the biggest winners. Pirates winning Pirates beating Buffaloes, a big win, that one. Because Buffaloes are one of the teams we thought could shake those top three. But clearly, I think we need to bring Impis in that conversation, because they're the ones. They're the ones
why are you lifting the man so early?
They're the ones shaking the table. But Joseph, before you speak about Impis, you guys today, even Franklin, because Silverbacks is putting on this, Joseph with Impis. I'm sure it's not even yours. Probably must have picked it off the scrum half. But let's start from where you are. How was the Sevens weekend in Nairobi? There were stories that it wasn't. There were some issues, but let's start with the good stuff.
Yeah, from my perspective, it was entirely good stuff. Of course, the Kenyans were complaining about a few things here and there, about the ticketing and about the organization.
What was wrong with the ticketing?
So
Too cheap,
about the
too
ticketing,
expensive?
no, it was actually initially too affordable. It was 350 shillings. That is about 10,000, and for an international tournament, that is quite affordable. The only problem is, the tickets were sold out very fast, and that is because of like hoarding and people holding on to tickets and buying in excess and then trying to resell later on. And so you would imagine that for an event whose tickets were sold out, there are a few seats here and there in the stadium, which wasn't a good look on the organizers.
Was it at the Nyayo?
Yes, it was at the Nyayo National Stadium. Then on Saturday, they announced even more tickets to be sold when they saw those empty spaces within the stadium. Nyayo, I was reading somewhere that it is about 18,000 capacity, but the Sports Ministry only allows them to use about 15,000. So I believe that extension was due to the tickets that were bought and then never used for day 2 of the tournament.
Yeah. The bad stuff, is it true or not?
Which bad stuff? Apart from the performance on the pitch, I believe everything went according to plan. The Kenyans, of course, with their brand of rugby that Franklin isn't a fan of, they weren't looking like themselves, especially the Kenyan ladies. It wasn't a good weekend for them on the pitch.
Who are the eventual winners of that? By the way, speaking about the HSBC 7 circuit. Yeah. So
Argentina emerged the winners of that tournament. Argentina alongside Germany, and these are two teams that came into Division 2 from Division 3, where they qualified as part of that Division 3 tournament that happened in Dubai in January. So they qualified from there, came into the Division 2, and found teams that had been relegated from the Division 1. That is currently ongoing. So they came in there and they sort of dominated them. One of the things when I was writing last week, I was writing about how it is enviable for Kenya to not only be playing at that stage, but also to host those things.
Yeah.
And then I looked at Germany, looking like a very different team from the team that were, you know,
That is always
at
beating
the
us
same
at the
level.
quarterfinals.
Yes, we were at the same level with them, winning with a single point or winning with the last kick and all that. And now they are up here and they are competing and they're actually winning championships.
Oh, wow, interesting. I think I saw a tweet from the Belgium team, and they were speaking about the whole experience and how they enjoyed themselves, had a couple of fans in there. So I think for teams like Belgium, those rising nations, even moving around the world should be a very, very good experience for them, and a good experience again for Kenya as well, for them to have the opportunity. Can imagine if Uganda were in there and also get a chance of hosting it at, now Namboole is sort of the new home for rugby. That would be, and I sometimes I feel that we put on a good vibe at Namboole. We not do, the results may not be very good, but at least the vibe your way.
No, but then I feel like, sorry Franklin, I feel like the Kenyans sort of did a better job than we usually do here, because we have had 2 rack competitions in a row, and the audience has been people that you and I know. But if you went into that stadium, you would see even football fans there, because I was seeing very many Harambee Stars shirts. Yes, and I was seeing that famous band that usually follows around, is it Goma here, around the pitch. It was actually there at the Nyayo Stadium to sort of support and put up a show, and it was quite entertaining, something that I don't usually see here. When we organize things, it's usually just the rugby fans, sports people, and people who are looking for vibe. So I believe that is something we can do better if at all we get to host some of these competitive tournaments, especially the international ones.
Joseph has said that Kenyans have a better vibe than us.
Newcomer.
Newcomer, by the time they attracted even Ugandans to go to Nairobi, I think they did a very good job there hosting. I don't know whether we can fill up the big Namboole stadium inside.
I mean, for rugby, they usually
those are not few people.
They usually they sell us rugby at 20,000. If you put it at 10K, come on. I think with the budgeting that man usually does for people here, with 30K you can do the whole two days.
So clearly price point is also a big issue as well here, I think, for us.
Yes, it's actually a very big issue because for example, from last year when they put the rugby,
is very central. It's very central.
So for us, when they put the Rugby Africa Cup at 30,000, people were actually complaining, and you could see some of the effects of putting up such a price point, and then the organizers then rushing to sort of put up those CJ Alebad over group tickets. And they start panicking, and then they're seeing, because the numbers will reflect, given their ticketing partners, they will know that the 30,000 and they are not coming.
Okay, all right. Welcome back, sir, and good to have you. It's good to see you back in good health. So let's speak about the elephant in the room, Impis.
Just a small bit before we get to the elephant in the room. The other good news, which I found quite problematic from Kenya, was that the Enterprise Cup is back, and that rumor has been around for a while. So what happened is that in Kenya they have been playing the Enterprise Cup throughout this period, but and then they got to the quarterfinal stage, and then their semi-finalists are going to play the Ugandan top 4 from the Uganda Cup. Now that is quite clear. However, when they released the manual, it was indicating the usual formatting that is sort of fair to everyone, where number 1 plays number 4, number 2 plays number 3 from either side, and then the fixtures are sort of balanced. But now what has happened is that number 1 is going to play 1, 2 is going to play 2, 3 is going to play 3, and that sort of thing. Yes, so now Pirates is going to play Cabras, who are ranked first because they had a better margin, and that is quite problematic, because when you think about our top 4 and their top 4, I don't know, over oceans apart. They are oceans apart, and we are going to suffer because now they are ranked number 3. Menengai Oilers had a friendly game with the Pirates at the Kings Park Arena, and they were looking, not like the national champions in that game. So it's going to be very tight for them. But we wait and see what comes out of the Enterprise Cup. Hopefully we don't see a semi-final where we have teams from only one country playing in the semi-final.
What's the window for the Enterprise Cup?
So it is going to be played in between the league. The first game is going to be on the 21st. That is the first fixture. Then the next month, and then the next month, because it is quarter-final in March, and then April, another fixture, and then May, the final.
Okay. Who's funding this?
I believe this is being funded by Uganda. Usually when you're the desperate one, you tend to reach out. You tend to extend your hand when you're the desperate one, and then you get taken advantage of. Because I was speaking to some people, especially from the Ugandan side, the technical people, and they're like, I don't know how we let this pass, because what the Kenyans do is they usually get a politician in the room and they discuss technical things with the politician and they pass their things. So, yeah, this is, of course, on both ends, because the first Pirates is playing from Uganda, then Pirates and Heathens, they're playing at home, and then Buffaloes and Cobs, they are traveling away to Kenya.
Yeah. Okay.
I think for me, the thing about the Enterprise Cup is that I think Ugandan teams are going to have to face quality opposition, where they are, I don't want to say to be put in their place, but to be at a level where they say, in terms of quality of the rugby that you play, I think you need to raise it a little bit higher. And after playing Kabra so KCB, even Menengai Oilers, for sure, your game, a Charlie wants in you, and I think the way that helps is that now when they play against the local opposition, there is going to be some sort of increase in the quality of the game that they are going to play. I mean, the exposure that they are going to have and all that.
I think one of the ways that, even as we did that a few years back in cricket, and of course Kenyan cricket was ahead of us, and the best way for us to compete, like Mana said, was to combine ourselves in Uganda rather than saying Wanderers and Aziz Daman, Yosilon Lions. We decided to say maybe the top 3 good teams come together, bring your best players, and that's the only way we could sort of compete with the Kenyans, because the Kenyans were at a different level. But anyway, we'll wait and see how that Enterprise Cup goes when our teams face off with the Kenyan teams.
I'm excited. I'm excited not to go to the boring, and rather watch some stuff from there.
Yeah. Okay, let's speak about a big weekend for the Impis. Does this result, let me start with context. Does the result sort of give you some give the Impis, not you, does it give Impis some safety that, maybe we need to win one more other game, and then it's a wrap for us, considering that Warriors got another walloping this weekend?
Yes, first of all, as an observer, when I looked at the teams in the league, the current teams in the league, and then we're talking about the shopping that Kakira was doing, and how teams like Mongas that were struggling last season are reinforcing themselves, you realize that for you to be in the top 8, which is safety from relegation, you have to win at least 4 games, and that will put you in that safe zone where you go to the quarterfinals and you're out of your depth and simply just walk away like what did, because when they're already won their trophy survival. But now looking at the position that Impis find themselves in, first of all, they're doing themselves very big favors by winning games no one expects them to win, because ideally you'd have expected them to beat a Warriors, to come and struggle with a Kakira, a Walukuwa here and there, to put up a good fight against Mongas, struggling Rhinos right now. But if at all they have started by winning even games that no one was expecting them to win, that is something that should be good. But also on the other hand, it is something that I believe the coaches have to work on, because these are young men, they can easily get excitable. You are talking about all the memes that were flying around, and a good mood is okay, but you have to get back to business at some point, which I believe they are doing.
Money is being a little bit conservative. what he's trying to say is Impis will be in the playoffs. It is just simple. Because they are now 2 wins away.
Two wins away for them
Wins
to
away
get
from
into
the playoffs. And now, interestingly, this weekend they are going to play Mongas. Mongas has also started very well. They're in number 2, and that is a team I believe
Top of
that
the team clash.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Top of the table clash. Before we come to it, let's speak about that result. What happened to the Heathens? They went to the graveyard and they were buried at the graveyard.
Yes,
that,
so,
that was a big result from Impis.
Yes, when I looked at those squads, I realized that of course these are top class players. And some of them have the experience to sort of do this thing to sort of like beat Impis. But when I looked at the Heathen squad, I felt like there is that X factor that is missing, and you can tell that the player that was supposed to inspire them into a simple victory. That is Malcolm Okello. Is it? Yeah, Daniel Malcolm Okello. Is the one who makes that error that, gets them punished by trying to swing that ball. For a Sevens player not being able to make that 10-meter pass, it's a bit worrying. But he's the one who swings that ball and then it goes loose and then Darren Aine pounces on it. That is Darren Aine. He pounces on it and then goes all the about 80 meters to score with someone trailing at the back. And I believe by maybe Friday he would have caught up, but for now, not yet. Yes, and then the other thing, still talking about that squad, Matthew Musasi started at 9 with Malcolm Okello. These are people who played against each other when Malcolm was at Hannah and then Matthew was at SMAC. And these are the people that these two have played with and against at all these different levels. You'd expect them to sort of put up a bigger performance in there, which didn't happen. Then, of course, the disappointing thing that within the forwards, when I was looking at the stats, one of the Impis forwards played, one of the Impis props played all the 80 minutes against props like Santos Centers, which you'd believe they would dominate them on any other day. But minus that Impis result, frankly, you'd think that if at all things had gone the way they were supposed to go, that Cobbs versus VU result would have been the result of the weekend. Yes, that 10-10 with that controversial moment where Umar blew the whistle before that try being scored, and then they are saying why. And, it was quite controversial. Then Pirates Buffaloes, you'd have thought it would have been a little bit easier, but
of course, Pirates making a mess of it.
Yeah, I think, but I also picked out the result, the Hippos result. The Hippos got a good result against Kakira. I was a bit surprised. I thought Hippos, they're just making up the numbers considering the sort of problems they have administratively. I just thought they are going to be getting a pounding every weekend.
Well, the Hippos didn't entirely lose the entire squad. They have some of those players staying in that squad. And then, surprisingly, some of the players that had gone to Kakira to begin Kakira with coach Saidi, players like Medi Mapesa and Maxwell Ebonga, after this storm had gone off, then they come back from Kakira and go back to Hippos. It's like they are waiting for Chairman Wakabi and Coach Tim Grover to leave, and then they come back to their home. So that result isn't so shocking because, again, the position that Kakira find themselves in, they are just rising right now. They have brought in a few players here and there, some of whom have come from the Hippos. So you don't expect that game to be very easy, and I believe that result isn't so shocking.
Yeah, and I think also Cobbs, like you've mentioned, against the Sharks, I thought Cobbs could try and seize the initiative, considering Heathens had dropped a few points. Pirates are doing well, so I thought Cobbs, they are not yet in their stride. They are not hit their strides yet.
Yeah, they are still off. I think the thing with Cobbs is that in terms of creating structures, I think it is going to take a little bit of maybe five games to get into that groove where they can easily get the result. I mean, for now, they are still going through some sort of structure reconstruction to try and play rugby that Cobbs are are capable of playing, and that we are used to seeing Cobs playing, and so they are not. At this point, they are not really playing that sort of open rugby that Cobs are supposed to be playing. Right now, it is just getting into the groove of.
And you see, Franklin, the other thing why they haven't hit the ground running is that they keep on changing instructors every other season. Now you have Timothy Mudola, who has played 2 competitive games against Pirates. Those 2 competitive games against Hippos in the league, and then the Uganda Cup game against Pirates at Kings Park. I don't know why you don't trust that man to continue with the work that he has been doing, even considering, and not disrespect to the legendary coach Brian Makalama, but he has been with the Mongas, and we also how the Mongas were doing. How the Mongas were doing last season, irrespective of the good work that Coach Makalama does with Buddo. You'd think that if at all you have a coach that is already performing and is trying to put structures in place, then you're just disrupting that whole structure that he's trying to build by bringing in someone who is considered a club legend and whatnot. And now it's like you're just tearing down the walls and then beginning afresh every other season, which isn't sustainable.
Coach Timo was dismissed by the players. It's not entirely management. I don't think most of the senior players were content with what he was putting out. From what I have heard.
The story behind the story.
The story.
Joseph, how is their new home? In Bulindo.
That is the new home, I think, of the Warriors. Have the Cobs moved there yet?
No, not yet.
I saw an advert that was showing
the Cobs haven't moved there yet, but yes, another piece of grapevine, Franklin. You said that the players dismissed Coach Timo, but I also have it on very good authority that Coach Timo may have been, because he's a club legend, it would have been embarrassing to kick him out. So they decided to sort of, I would call that a demotion, but it also comes from the management end. And from the management perspective, and I don't want to insinuate anything because part of that new management, I know them, but when you elect in a new management, they sort of come in with a new way of doing things, and that has also reflected on him. Whereas, for example, the previous executive committee would have maybe had belief in him, and then when you bring in new leadership, they also have their own way of
they want
how
to come
they want
with their
to do
own guy.
things. Yes.
Yeah, I know how that works. But and this weekend you said the Impis is taking on Mongas, right?
Impis Mongas, that is going
top
to
of
be
the table.
Top of the table clash. Number 1 versus number 2.
Who knew?
Yes, that is number 1 versus number
Entebbe?
2. It's going to be in Entebbe, and I think that is the game of the weekend, personally, because I believe Mongas still has a bone to pick with Impis. From that season when Impis won 5 games in 5 games, Mongas was one of the victims to fall to Impis. And then the season before last, they played a very competitive game as well. It was at Graveyard, if I remember correct. It was about 23-19 for Mongas, and that was at a time when Impis was actually struggling, and relegation was imminent. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I believe that is my game of the season.
Okay, game of the weekend. Yeah, game of the weekend. Top of the table clash where the Mongas host the mighty Makere Impis. The arrogance being taken across town. We hope that their luck hasn't been at home and doesn't run out away from home when the Impis visit the Mongas in Entebbe. I would like to finish our conversation here. That has been our conversation this week on the Weekly Wowos. I've had the privilege of hosting Edwin Kalkule, the man who's just fresh off a flight from the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, where he was SC7 series. Joseph Man Muhumuza, very, very smart in his Impis Impis jersey,
Which I didn't borrow, by the way.
which you didn't borrow. They're on top of the table. And Franklin Kawowo, who's the editor of Kawowo Sports, also very, very smart in that Silverbacks jersey.
Yep.
And I've been your weekly host, Dennis Msali, and as usual, please make sure you keep reading Kawowo Sports. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of the basketball action from the National Basketball League. And until next week, we'll see you then. The mighty Impis.